Hello, Kyle. How you doing? Yes, ma'am. No problem. Thank you, ma'am.
Hang on.
Look, we're still-
Drinking.
Oh yeah, egg timer,
Has it
timer
been
there.
Has it been there
Oh,
a couple times?
oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of it. It sets too. I'd rather have one there. And I want to get a blinking light. Are we ready? Not yet.
Almost.
Okay.
The live stream is up. Let me get my other one after I quit.
Okay.
Go.
We're good.
Go.
Okay. It is now 5:01 p.m. and we're going to call this regular city council meeting to order. And we do have a quorum here, but we're going to move immediately to an executive session. City Council will convene in closed session pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code for one or more of the following authorized reasons. A, Chapter 551.0712, consultation with attorney on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with this chapter pertaining to the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and any other matters which may arise. It is now 5:02 p.m. and we're going to recess into executive session. talking to, well, let me go get Leroy.
Yeah,
Joe, put the
he's
cover back
coming.
on the couch, please.
Man,
I have started the live stream back.
you have started the live stream? Okay, we'll start the meeting here in a few minutes.
Well, I just started the sound back.
Okay, hang on.
Did you hear me? Put the cover back on the couch, please.
Joe, come on.
And please feed the dogs.
Do you have a Ring camera?
Oh, we got a pup cam.
Oh.
Hi, Odin. Odin's looking for
Let's
me.
see Odin.
Odin's looking for me. He just went away. Here comes Loki. See, that's the cover. See, Odin's looking for me. Thor hears me.
I put one of those up in the house and had a giant rat show up to it. Remember the
Oh,
rats that I
that's
caught?
right.
Hi, Odin.
But they weren't inside, they were outside.
No, they were inside.
Go ahead and start it up. Tell me when you're ready to roll.
It's good.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and start the meeting here. It is 6:50,
6.
5:53.
You're reconvening in open
I'm-
session.
We're gonna reconvene the meeting in open session, 5:53 PM. Let's do a roll call, please.
Sheena Martinez, District 1.
Houston Marchman, District 2.
Tobinship,
District 3,
Tobinship, District 4.
Valerie Solis, District 5.
And Bruce Alexander, Mayor. Please all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right. If you would please join me in an invocation. Dear Lord, thank you for the opportunity for us all to come together tonight and have this city council meeting. Please continue to watch over each of us and help guide us, the city council, through their comments and decisions they make tonight, and watch over us all and grant us a safe journey home. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Let's move to item 7, which is citizen comments. The city council will hear comments from any citizen or visitor. Speakers must address their comments to the presiding officer rather than individual council members or staff. Stand at the podium, speak clearly into the microphone, and state your name, residential address before speaking. Speakers will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes for testimony. In accordance with the State Open Meetings Act, the city council is restricted from discussing or taking action on items not listed on the agenda. Action can only be taken in a future meeting. Does anyone like to speak to citizens' comments? Mr. Lee? Let me get my clock running here.
I'll need it 30 seconds or more. Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff.
Yes.
I had some comments on your agenda item, and you all may have already taken care of these. I don't know. I was interested, the counting on item 12B said wording, Robert Lee, 1314 Gentiles. The wording says council may select the director of public work. I don't know if that gave you options or not. I didn't see a lot of descriptions of duties, responsibilities, performance reviews, day-to-day operational responsibilities and stuff like that in the ordinance that was there. Seemed to be a little thin on detail, but maybe you've covered it somewhere else. I also recommend, as we have done in the past, that you make the airport manager a position that is selected by or approved by the city council. It was that way in the past. It's somehow got off on another track in the past. Don't know where that happened, but there have been instances where the city manager directed this airport manager to take positions and voice positions that were contrary to the best interest of the airport and in conflict with the FAA. That's not a good thing. And just like you're doing tonight with Public Works Director, and if you don't, the Secretary and the police, that takes a burden of compliance. Don't have to comply if, you know, the reporting official is somebody else. So I'd like for y'all to consider that. Restrictions on certain streets looks good. I understand the intent. We used to have 4 streets that went to the river that were improved. Some of them look pretty bad now, and that was either side of Kenneck Park, Athens, and Alsace. And some of those have been left untended to, sometimes due to the insistence of the people that lived along there because they didn't like the noise. But historically, there's always been the ability to get to the river. And if somebody wants to put in a kayak or a skiff or something like that, they should be able to drive down there and do that. So I'd like for y'all to consider that. And I agree with the wording that's in the ordinance about unimproved sections of roads, as long as that's what you really mean, unimproved sections of roads. And I hope there's some signage goes up to that effect. And there's a number of roads that have been fenced off and people have cattle running on them or things like that. And I don't think it's safe for a person to go down that road with cattle running loose there. So y'all might want to take a look at those situations so people can get down there. The question then comes in, most streets in Old Castroville are 42 feet wide. I get 10 on my side, the other guy gets 10 on his side, or lady. That leaves 22 feet in the middle. But if they're unimproved, who's responsible for maintaining that middle 22 feet? If it's full of trees and junk and stuff's falling down, it's not the property owner according to the ordinance, it's the city. And so whether you all want to take a look at what that means and what you might do in those situations, that'd probably be useful. Community center policy, I noticed it was going to be closed on all the major holidays. You might think about the fact that that's usually some of the times you get the most demand.
Go ahead.
I know it's not for me.
Go ahead. That is, but go ahead.
And so whether you want to add a sentence in there that said, on approval by council or something, may consider on opening on these days if there's, reasons that you guys agree to, and charge an additional fee for that. I think anytime you have that somebody in that building using it, someone from the city needs to be on hand. I really think they do. And I'm missing a Chang that you might think about putting some hooks up unobservable on the ceiling so people that might want to hang banners or flags or other kind of things like that, there are already attachment points up there. Advisory boards, in the past, we frequently have trouble, even if we open it to the world, filling all those positions. And so something to think about. I know that the wording in the agenda item talks about able to spend city money. Well, of course, they're just advisory boards. They don't spend any money. They just leave the decisions to you to get the information, and they're there to do background work. So might want to think about, are we cutting people off that we really think would be valuable to the city the way we have asked to, or what's worded in the proposal for you guys. If a subdivision comes into the city, it does not come into the city, but it could be in the city, they don't pay property taxes, would you let those people, because they get a utility bill, serve on a board and commission? They couldn't serve on a commission, but they get served on an advisory board according to your criteria, even though they don't pay any taxes that would support the library, the parks, or the airport. Something to think about that. I know you had some reference ordinances in there, but I didn't see an ordinance in the package that was proposed to replace the 2 ordinances you want to remove.
Okay.
As far as, you ready for me to hang it up?
Wrap it up.
Okay, last item is you might consider letting people that don't meet the criteria now serve their time out till the next board, just because it, they did all good intentions. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have a great evening.
I'm glad I'm not there.
Thank you. Is there anyone else would like to make citizens' comments?
Kyle McVeigh, 307 Madrid. I'm here because of your item 12G, I think. It's about reducing the size of the HLC to a 5-member board instead of a 7. My concern is why? Why do you want to do that? Our ordinance only suggests 5 members on a board. It doesn't say there's any limit for how many you can have. That's an excellent board now, and you have good people serving on it. They're qualified. They have the interest of Castroville Historic Preservation in mind, and so you'll be eliminating 2 of those people. And I go back, why? I mean, just to have a criteria of saying, well, we have 5-member boards all the way across. I see no reason for that. And I see no reason when you have people that want to serve that you're denying them the opportunity to serve. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Is there anyone else who would like to make citizens' comments? Okay, one more time. Anyone else like to make citizens' comments? Hearing none, we'll close citizens' comments and we'll move on to the consent agenda, which is the minutes for June 9th, 2026, special call meeting. And that was our budget workshop, and the minutes for June 9th, 2026, the regular called meeting. And there's no comments. I'd entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve both the meeting minutes for the special called meeting on the 9th of June and the regular called meeting on the 9th of June.
I'll say.
Motion made and second to approve the consent agenda, which is the minutes for those meetings. All in favor?
Aye.
On opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Let's move on to mayor's report.
Well, you have the executive session.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Thank you very much. The consider possible action resulting from matters posted and legally discussed in executive session. There were no decisions and no actions coming out of the executive session. And let's move on to the mayor's report. Okay, let me see some. Nope. Okay. 4 items. Just going to talk real quick. City administrator's position. Just for y'all that may not know, and I believe everybody probably knows this, but just to confirm again, on Tuesday, June 9th, Mr. Scott Dixon resigned his position as the city administrator for the city of Castroville, effective immediately. City council then, he resigned during an executive session. City council then took action in open session to officially accept the resignation. In accordance with the Castroville Code of Ordinances, as the mayor, I appointed our city council, our city Castroville finance director, Leroy Vidalis, as the interim city administrator pending city council action. That will happen later on today, this evening. It's on this agenda. Project status updates. Typically we'd have a city administrator report. Hope to have those coming in the next meetings. I just want to touch base on a couple projects that I talked with Public Works about. The street paving project that was previously approved by council was done in the subdivisions, the Westheim, the Country Village, the Alsatian Oaks. That is scheduled for completion. If not completed today, it should be completed this week. Okay. And the other paving and reconditioning projects that council approved will begin very soon. Pretty close?
Well, that's the one we were going to talk about.
Okay. Anyway, both projects were approved by council using a total of up to $650,000 of general fund reserves without the need to raise tax rates or issue additional debt. City council will consider additional paving and reconditioning projects in the next year's budget cycle. And we'll talk more about that as we go. The budget process, we just had our fourth budget workshop today to complete the initial council workshops on the general fund. We will begin work on, we'll be doing the airport fund on Thursday and beginning working next week on the enterprise fund. And again, anyone that wants to be involved or have any comments on that, we're welcome to it. As far as the general fund's concerned, we have a lot of work to do, but the goal is to develop budgets that do not require any increase in taxes, any increase in utility fees, and any need for additional new debt. The last thing I want to point out is citizens' involvement. There was a discussion as far as boards and commissions. Every board and commission the city has, their terms expire in June. So we're in the process of probably the next meeting, reappointing or appointing people to fill those positions. There are many, many, many open positions in every one. I mean, a lot of incumbents, but there's a lot of open positions, including alternate positions for virtually every board. So I would encourage anybody in the public that hasn't already signed up for it, please do so for council to consider. And as always, if you members of the public, if you have any questions, concern on what's going on in the city, please reach out to your respective council member or myself, and we'll either try to get you the answer. Actually, we'll get to the right staff person and try to get you an answer to try to address all your concerns. Maybe not the way you want them, but at least the way what the city's doing and why we're doing what we're doing. And I want to thank everybody for being involved in that, and I wish people would become more involved. And that's all I have. Let's move to item 11, City Council Liaison Reports. Start with the Airport Board. Councilwoman Martinez.
At the airport met on the 2nd of June. They approved their April meeting minutes because they didn't have a meeting in May. They briefed about the brass hangars project. Engineering and site planning are being worked. The gentleman that came to the airport in April with proposal of possibility of building hangars, once complete, they would either sell to the city or individuals. But we haven't heard back from them on that. And we also asked them about if they're interested in doing a STEM hangar. Haven't heard back from them on that either. The idea, after 25 years of somebody building a hangar out there, after 25 years, the hangar would then belong to the city. Airport layout plan, Chuck recommended running the idea through TxDOT FAA to get a feel on potential approval, possibility putting the ball fields back on the master plan for the airport. But I have follow-up with that because we had a meeting, Leroy and I had a teleconference with Ben Breck, our TxDOT FAA rep, and I have that after this meeting. Airport manager position, Mike retired the 15th of May. The plan is Mike has been hired back on a month-to-month basis to work 10 hours a week to help with administrative stuff. Now that Scott's not here anymore, I've already talked with Leroy, and we're looking at putting out there about a part-time airport manager because there is a funded part-time airport manager position available. A lot has been done with a part-time manager, and this is the feel of the advisory board. Now that they are a regional airport, there's a lot that needs to be taken care of and done, and they don't want it to go backwards with us not having an airport manager. So they really, really would like for us to get an airport manager in some capacity back on board. They are still working on Castroville Ordinance Chapter 18. That's still being worked. Airport Advisory Board positions, they have 3 that are open. Position alternate number 2, Karen, she has resigned. Kirby has resubmitted his paperwork. Kenneth Lang has resubmitted his paperwork. Kim is not able to because she's busy flying for American Airlines. Thank you. As of 2 June, no new applicants for both alternate positions have been received. They're still out there beating the bushes to
I
get.
have applications.
Okay. They
They
said they were going to
sent it to
beat the
me.
bushes to get people to put stuff in. So then Leroy and I had a teleconference on the 11th of June with with Ben Breck. He is Castroville Airport's TxDOT FAA rep. And this was in regards to the ball fields. We asked, the one question is, what kind of situation is Castroville sitting in right now, since we had not acknowledged the violation from the inspection 2 years ago? He said, we're not in any danger of losing any money or any grants or anything like that, but we do need to do something. He said that we don't want to in any way, shape, or form permanently say that the ball fields are there, because that's not a thing. They said that they will need to be moved, but we have to have a plan. And so we said, well, 3 to 5 years, is that okay? And Ben Breck's like, yep, we could, FAA TxDOT can work with that. But we still have to have a plan. They don't want us to just turn around and say, oh, we're not doing anything about it. So Leroy drafted a letter, and you worked with Dan on it and everything. So we got that letter going. And has it gone?
It went out today.
Yes.
So the letter went out today to the FAA TxDOT to see, hopefully get approval for it to become non-aviation use. And so 3 to 5, but we now need to make sure the verbiage in the agreement between the city and the Medina Valley Youth Baseball Association, that phrase that says exclusively for them, their use, needs to be removed. So we will get the reduced fair market value rate for the ball fields. And
You know what that is.
Actually, once you take it out of non-aviation, it's up to the governing body, which is this body right here,
Yeah.
to set the rate.
but we still need to have that taken out of the agreement.
Right.
And so, and then TxDOT FAA also needs to see the reflection of the money being transferred to the airport annually, like it's supposed to be for the fair market value use.
Right.
So, but they did let us know that we do need to be, proactively looking for another location for the ball fields. And we said we already have a committee that is working on that. They're starting to meet with people and trying to figure things out. So we're sitting all right with TxDOT right now. So we're good. We're making progress. And that's everything I got.
That was a lot.
All right, thank you. Move on to the library board, Ms. Schreiner.
No updates.
Okay, move on to Historic Landmark Commission. Mr. Marchman, no meeting?
No meeting.
Okay, Parks and Recreation Board, Mr. Ship.
None.
Planning and Zoning Commission, Ms. Solis.
No meeting.
All right, thank you all very much. Let's move to item 12, discussion and action items. Discussion and appropriate action to adopt a resolution appointing an interim city administrator. You have before you, let me get to this item. Where am I at?
Well,
12A.
I'm looking for it.
okay.
Yeah, before you, a resolution that was drafted by our city attorney that appoints Leroy, okay, as our interim, Leroy Vidalis? Okay, as, I never call you by your last name, I apologize. As our interim city administrator, he would serve as the city administrator until such time as city council deemed otherwise or we filled the position. Now, I do want to go a little step further and let you know it's not in the resolution. But my recommendation in appointing him as the interim was also to compensate him a little bit for this. Basically, an additional $1,500 a month for the dual position and an extra $200 a month in vehicles so he can go check on things like he did today.
It is in the resolution.
Okay, it is, those numbers are in the resolution?
No, this is compensation.
Right, and those are the compensations I'm proposing. So I'd like a motion I'm asking for a motion to adopt the resolution and support those compensations.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to appoint Leroy as the interim city administrator and to compensate him during that term accordingly, in addition to his other duties. All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
All right, Leroy.
All right.
Congratulations, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
Next item, item B, discussion appropriate action on adopting an ordinance naming the Director of Public Works as City Council appointed position. I will tell you that, and I wrote this little short thing. In 1991, the City Council created the position of Director of Public Works. The city had, for 17 years, 4 officers: the city administrator, the city secretary, chief of police, and the director of public works. And they were all 4 council appointed positions. And the city administrator had daily administrative control over all of them, but they reported directly to council. And I believe it worked pretty good. I mean, but then they got away from that and changed around. And I talked to Leroy, I've talked to others, and this kind of helps him. And I've talked to John a little bit about it. And I'm recommending that the city, and talked to Dan, and Dan said in order to create an officer, something they didn't do back then, you have to create it by ordinance. So this ordinance creates the position. As Mr. Lee pointed out, it says council may. Okay, council may fill other positions too. But at this time, the goal or the intent is just to move our current public works director into that position, council appointed position. So I'd entertain a motion.
Also, you have the corrected ordinance before you that you have not had in your packet.
Okay. Okay. And I would entertain a motion.
Mayor, I anticipate coming back in a few weeks and then you adding, this is what the public work director's going to do.
The duties are not.
His job description?
Yeah, that's what I envision.
Okay. Well, okay.
Once
Well,
we figure out exactly what all he's going to do.
well, he's going to do the job he's been doing right now.
I know, but we want to, we'll come back.
In detail.
But in that ordinance, it says the duties should be attached, I assume,
Oh, we have to attach his job description with that?
to make it clear.
Yeah. Okay, we
So,
can
I'll make
attach
a
that.
motion to adopt an ordinance naming the Director of Public Works as City Council appointed position.
I'll second.
Motion made and second to pass the ordinance, do it, and to add the job description as it becomes available. Any discussion?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So when I look at this kind of in the big picture of things, I see the previously appointed positions being all ones that are immediately public facing, that have a high level of community interaction.
Yes,
Police chief, city administrator, and then the city secretary.
right.
So my question is, if this role is appointed, does that now take the public works director and give them additional staffing, additional hours, additional overtime? Because that's going to be, I suspect, I'm concerned that there's going to be a much higher volume of interaction that's going to come that way.
I understand that, and I don't necessarily agree with that because I've had that talk and I know what they do, and it's not going to change. It's only going to change who his report to. That's all really it all changes, because it doesn't change the scope of his work, doesn't change what his duties are, doesn't change what his responsibilities are, doesn't change the staffing he has. Because he's over the staff, everybody down there anyhow. It just basically changes who he reports to.
And that is sufficiently different than what it is now.
Yes,
So as opposed to,
he directly reports to the city administrator, and it takes it away out from the administrator and puts it straight to city council. That's the gist of it.
okay, but all decisions that would be supervisory in that role of public works director would be a collective decision made by the city council on those actions that he's able to take?
The city council would manage the public works director in the same aspects that they manage the city administrator, the city secretary, and the chief of police.
Okay. So there wouldn't be a single city council member that was responsible for a supervisory
No.
No.
capacity? Okay.
No. Okay. Any other comments?
It's, Councilwoman, it's going to be just like the city administrator, police chief, secretary. You will, day to day, the public works is going to take care of business, and then when it comes time to getting direction, he will come to you as a council as a whole. Just like they do, just like I do.
Right.
Great, that's clarified.
Any other discussion? Okay, motion made and second to adopt the ordinance. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. Item number C, consider and take action regarding an ordinance amending Chapter 106, Traffic and Vehicles by adding Article 9, Restrictions on Certain Streets to prohibit vehicle traffic on designated unimproved roadways within the city of Castroville. This first came to city council last August, maybe even July.
A few
And
years ago.
And actually, if you went back, it probably first came to the city 30 years ago. I know it was discussed even before a lot of times, but it seemed to never get over the edge because we were constantly being concerned with which street it applies to, how it applies, what vehicles, what it does. When we talked about this and gave the direction last summer, it was directed, and it was a council action to direct this to be prepared. It addressed all motorized equipment, not just a car, not just a truck, but a four-wheeler, a golf cart. It's not permitted on an unimproved paper street. In other words, a street that's not been developed as a street or maintained as a street. So you take, for example, Cross Hill. You don't think of its streets on there, but they're all individual lots like everything else. Okay, it prohibits vehicle traffic on unimproved roadways. So it's not just the roads going to the river. It's the roads in the elementary school campus. There's roads. They're public streets. The buildings are built back from those. There's roads in the cemetery. There's roads in other places besides just to the river. So it's addressing all the roads that are unimproved for vehicle traffic. Now, Mr. Lee brought up an issue about people using those roadways for private. Well, I would hope they wouldn't be, because it doesn't deny foot traffic from anybody going down those right of ways to the river. And if somebody's got them fenced off, then that would be an issue for the police department. I believe this ordinance also addresses signage for the roads too. That would basically, it stops where vehicle traffic goes. So council went through this a year ago. Council directed the administrator to draft an ordinance. It's one of those that didn't get done. We've drafted an ordinance. It came the last council meeting. I pulled it because I believe there were some corrections on some of the streets. You'll see some were added, some whatever, because we went straight by a map and listed them all around the city. So I would entertain a motion for this ordinance.
I'll make a motion,
Motion to approve the ordinance? Okay,
and then we're gonna discuss it.
yep, we are. But I just laid it out. Now, I'm looking for a second so we can open up.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance as it's presented. Any discussion?
Oh, yes.
Go right ahead.
All right.
Who wants to start?
Go ahead, Sheena.
All
Ms.
right.
Martinez, go
All
ahead.
right. So looking at this list, the first one right off the bat, Alsace Avenue, from the intersection of Alsace Avenue and Washington north to Ranchero Street.
Mhm.
That's Dr. Best's field. There's
That's
no
the-
street.
Yes, there are.
There
There are
are,
platted streets in that. Yes, ma'am.
because you would never know.
Those are platted streets.
Okay, so what about the
But they're
second?
fenced off.
They're platted streets.
Okay, so what about the next one that goes,
Chateau from that
that crosses Garza Creek,
that is a platted street.
going across Garza
That
Creek?
is a platted street. Yes,
Really?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, never mind. Just,
So, I got a question then. If it's fenced off,
It's his property.
yeah, it's his
but he
property.
doesn't own the street,
That's correct.
so he can't fence it off.
I
Well,
didn't.
it's
I didn't.
outside,
I
city
did.
limits.
I did.
Yes.
Which property are you talking about?
Dr. Best Field, near River Bluff?
That is in the city limits. That's original plat of the city.
No,
It's
that one
county property.
is county property.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. but-
The property you're talking about, Ranchero and Chateau,
Oh, I don't know about that.
down on Geneva Street, or you're talking about the property on Houston Street?
It goes behind his medical building. Oh, I don't know about that.
Okay.
Yeah, right there.
That's not,
Right.
that's not where the streets are.
But this is where the property is.
Look.
I know,
This is Mesa Best, and these are streets. This is Alsace, this is Ranchero. That's a street. I'm not talking about this. That's a street. That's a street. That's a street.
okay, well, it doesn't interact. That's why I'm asking the question, because people are gonna ask me.
I know. Ranchero and Chateau streets are part of the platted streets.
Okay.
So Mayor, for the people at home, y'all just got up and went over and pointed to a map.
We pointed to a map of the city limits that showed where the streets are. Yes. Yes, the gentleman they referenced owns different tracts of land, and one tract of land, I agree, that is not in the city limits, but the other tract of land is part of the original plat of the city.
Oh, that answers my question. Thank you.
Mr. Marchman,
I'm good, thank you.
Ms. Schreiner?
This does give me a little bit of immediate pause, since the thing that we just approved was council giving direction to Public Works, which involves streets. And I think this is a pretty immediate example of taking some time to make sure that it doesn't end up being messier than it needs to be.
Okay.
Because we did just take a couple of minutes and have to get up out of our chairs and go and look at a map, because there was disagreements about fundamentals of what's in the city, what's in the county, and what streets are platted and which ones aren't.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Mr. Tobin?
In the event that some, possibly a couple of streets are used as driveways, how are we going to address that?
If the roadway is improved, it's a street, it's an improvement. There is, you gotta remember this. No one singly has the right to a city right of way. And unlike other properties that you may move property lines and kind of take an adverse possession type approach, you can never take adverse possession against a sovereign. So the city right of way is the city right of way is the city right of way. And if you as a property owner adjacent to it choose to improve it to be able to access your property, well, you've just improved the roadway for everyone. Mr. Attorney?
That's correct.
Thank you.
That's correct.
Now, what we're doing is, if you take some of the roads that may have been done that way, but then it's closed off for vehicle traffic beyond that point.
Correct. Yeah.
But up until that, where it's closed off, where the improvements are done, that's public access.
So property owners that have improved these locations
Yes.
have improved it for general purpose use.
I'm going to say they've improved it in the public right of way. So yes, it's
Okay.
yes.
They can't adverse possess it, you can't take it from the city, they improved it from.
Gotcha.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I got.
Ms. Solis?
Yes, so the list of streets here,
Yes, ma'am.
have we confirmed, double checked, triple checked that these are all the streets that we will be?
If you'd like to, we can take time to do that, but I went through the map, every single map all the way around town.
Okay.
So I would welcome anyone else that wanted to look at those.
And then enforcement of signage or putting signage, Public Works would probably have to install the signs?
Absolutely.
Okay, do we have signs on order, or is that something that?
I
Public
don't
Works-
think there's any being ordered because we don't have an ordinance.
Okay.
Fair enough? Sure.
So once we do the ordinance and everything, it goes into effect, what, 30 days?
Because it has to be published.
Right. We have-
Published.
Once we publish it, and then they get the signs up.
Okay.
And then enforcement is on code compliance, correct?
Actually, it's part of the traffic stuff, so it's kind of like a joint thing.
Okay, okay,
It's a police department issue.
okay.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion to approve the ordinance as written, and we have a second. We're going to call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign?
Nay.
Okay, motion carries 4-1. Thank you. Now we're going to item number 13. Is that it? Or 12F?
12D.
12D.
12D. See, I'm getting way ahead of myself. 12D. Discussion and possible action on requesting an inspection and re-rate of proposed weight limit change to Young's Crossing Bridge. Before you go, Valerie, because I'm going to turn this over to you, I just want to make sure that everybody clearly follows that that's where that's at. That's that low water crossing bridge there at Constantinople where it goes up and out, right?
That's correct.
Okay, ma'am, if you would, please.
So lately, we've seen higher usage of Constantinople down Young's Crossing to get to Lower La Crosse Road from 18-wheelers that are using that route to go to the data centers back to Lytle and Natalia. And before I carry on, I do want to say thank you to the police department, because when the concern was made, they did pull over several 18-wheelers that day and didn't contact the data centers to let them know that that route was restricted for 18-wheeler use. As well as Public Works for moving the signage, better placement on top of the hill and cutting down the trees so that citizens can see the sign. So I appreciate that. So obviously with the increase of use of those type of vehicles across that crossing, my concern is, what is the classification of that crossing? Is it a crossing or is it a bridge? And then of course, I believe sometime last year or 2 years ago, an inspection was done on that bridge.
Okay.
And so I was just curious to see if city has the outcomes of that inspection and what's the rate in which we have to re-inspect.
Okay. It's my understanding, and I don't know, I'd have to ask if there's any documentation, but I did receive a call from Mr. King, former Councilman King, and he did reference that they did some bridge inspections before, and that TxDOT had told him, now I don't know if we have documentation on this, but this is what I'm getting told, that crossing does not meet the criteria for a bridge, so they don't consider it a bridge. They consider it just box culverts or a crossing or what have you. So my understanding, would not be involved in any inspection whatsoever on it. That's a city issue if the city wanted to proceed with that. So in that respects, if you don't have an engineering inspection, you kind of set the route, set the load limits, things like that. I don't know, and I'd have to turn to Public Works. I don't know how. I know it's got box culverts in it. I think they're stacked, but what the size are, what the load ratings are, and then you can come up with a load rating number if you wanted to do that. Bearing in mind that it's the only other crossing of the river the city of Castroville has. Years and years ago, we talked about trying to get FEMA funding to build a true bridge, but also understand that that's literally an easement by prescription. That's not a city street, but it is a city street because you follow me on that?
Right.
It doesn't align with the city streets, but it's what they call an easement by prescription because it's been used that way forever. So I'm just telling you all the things is I don't know how to load limit it at this time.
Right. I guess, well, 2 points is that there's signage out there that says a one-way bridge,
Yes,
but it's not a bridge. It's not classified as a bridge. It's only classified as crossing.
yes.
So is that adequate to have out there because it's not a bridge?
I'm looking at my attorney there.
I mean, semantics to a certain extent, but
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I mean, is it a bridge or is it just a?
right, because then that needs to correlate to the ordinance too, that is also.
Okay.
It does.
Right, so I guess from my perspective, and I know we have some digging, I know Mr. Gomez, I know we briefly discussed it, so if, I would urge council to support me with providing direction to Mr. Gomez as far as finding historical documentation.
I'll make the motion.
Right, excuse me, just saying, I think that's important, and also the fact is, we gotta know what it is, so we can make a determination going on. And then the other part of, I didn't wanna get into your
No,
thing,
that's
but
fine.
the other part, the ordinance the truck traffic, the truck routes, that's, you wanna talk about that after this?
Oh, no, we can go right
Okay,
into it.
I wanted to talk about that too, because, there's a discussion about, okay, we have signage. Have we designated a truck route through town? Have we officially denied that type of vehicle traffic through there? Because we can force that truck traffic down across Highway 9 and down Lower Cost Road, where we keep it out of those areas. We could, but we do it by signs, but we can actually specify it if we
Right.
wanted to.
We can specify?
I'm just getting to that. That's another point,
Yeah.
trying to get the traffic down. There's two different issues here.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
it's like peeling back an onion, really.
Right.
I mean, it seems simple on its face, but then you start, well, wait, now we can do this. So, yeah, so I think we need to probably give direction to John, at least try to figure out what it is, and then come back to y'all at some point.
Would that be by ordinance? So if they gave a ticket, the court would have an ordinance on that, on the truck route?
Yes.
Yeah, for it to
Okay.
go through trucks.
Right.
No big semi trucks.
Go ahead.
Right.
Do you want to make your motion?
Sure. Recommend to direct staff to determine the official classification of Young's Crossing, identify any existing inspections, engineering, structural, or load rating records, and provide recommendations regarding any future need of engineering, evaluation, weight restrictions, signage, traffic control measures.
And I'll second that.
Motion made and second. Further discussion? All in favor?
I
All opposed? Same sign? Okay,
If you wrote that down, I'd like to have a copy.
we got it. They'll write it down, and that's Leroy.
I'm so sorry.
John,
That's good.
John, if you don't got that, we'll get it to you. Okay,
I-
and we'll get it to you.
I
Okay.
can say I have the bridge inspections in my office.
Okay.
They send them over, but I don't know if it's that one. I think it's just the one on Highway.
Right, I think it's Highway 90, but
But I'll look.
you got your homework. Find out get down there, and while the water's down, oh, I'm sorry, it's up right now. Find out what the culverts are, okay? Because that's the easiest way to do it. Okay? Let's move on to item. Was there anything else, ma'am?
No, sir, I don't think we need to even discuss.
Okay.
Since we discussed it previously.
Okay, let's move on to item E, discussion and appropriate action on the interlocal agreement between Bear Medina Atascosa, BMA, and the city of Castroville for the use of BMA property for public trail system. Jonah.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So I'm bringing this item to you all as an update. I have gone before the BMA board a couple of times, and we've not actually discussed the contract, but in talking to their staff and the attorney, it does not seem that they will be very favorable about that reimbursement clause that was in the initial contract.
What is that? Remind us what that is.
So in the reimbursement was that within 5 years, if BMA or the city was to cancel the agreement, the BMA would reimburse us the $15,000 or whatever was expended for the gate installation, signage, interpretive panels.
Prior to 5 years.
Correct.
Okay.
So having said that, and having talking to their staff and the attorney, it does not look favorable on our side, keeping that 5-year term in there with that clause. So my recommendation would be to have 1-year terms with an automatic renewal for 5 years, and then after that, switch back to the 1 year. In addition to that, we're also looking at, that's pretty much it.
Are they?
Sorry, I
Okay.
thought there was something else.
So they're not open to a 5-year term, but they're open to 5 single-year terms?
They have not, the board has not told me directly. I'm going based off of what BMA staff and the attorney have told me.
The
So,
operations gentleman, manager?
yes, and the office manager, Bonnie.
both of them. Okay,
Both Bonnie, quite frankly, both Bonnie and Brian do not, or at least have not seemed very favorable about having the city continued usage for that trail system. But it does seem like the directors are open to continuing that partnership.
okay, but you haven't been before the board to
We
talk
have-
about it.
We have been before the board.
And you haven't brought this up?
We have brought this up, but the attorney at the last meeting, the attorney did not have an opportunity to review the contract in depth. So he recommended that the board table the item. The board still had discussion. And during that discussion, I think the only director who had comments was Director Hitzfelder.
Is he against it?
He was against it.
Okay.
His comments were that the city is not helping patrons in the park. We are not keeping our soccer lights on past 9 o'clock. We're charging an arm and a leg for certain activities. I have reached out to Director Hitzfelder and I've not heard anything back from him. But some of the stuff that he had brought up were not.
So his issues are more personally related to the use of the park.
I would agree.
Okay, that's okay. I'm not trying to. They have the right to save their peace.
Absolutely.
My concern is if we put $15,000 into a 1-year agreement, there's nothing to stop them from canceling it 1 year. And now we've bought $15,000 worth of gates, and we're done. We surrender it.
I agree.
Okay. I don't know about y'all, but I would not recommend we agree to that at this time. But go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
So without the gates, it's my understanding that the gates have historically been there because they create a barrier to the trails that actually go through that area. And not having an agreement with BMA would substantially reduce the number of trails that people have access to. Is that accurate?
So yes and no. So the gates themselves basically are the property line for the parks department. So I should say regional park. Regional park uses BMA Canal as a connection trail on the top. So basically I think there's like 6 or 7 trails that connect, and we use the canal to connect those different trails. The 2 gates that are on either side are basically the property line. If you go past this gate, you're not on regional park property anymore on both sides. So the automation of those gates was in the original contract 20 years ago. My understanding is that automation was put in, but was never maintained by the city. And that's kind of where BMA is really hesitant on continuing this partnership because I guess the city didn't do their part, BMA didn't. It's a back and forth in that sense. So
the gates are there in lieu of the fences so that way there can be access to maintain that trailway?
There are gates there, and the access is more for BMA. City will go up there to do routine maintenance, whether it's sign replacement, bench replacement. We had a tree down the other day, so we went up there, and it's easier to go on the canal versus walking all the way up from the bottom of the park. So the access and the gates, and the reason that they wanted it to be automated was so that way BMA staff wouldn't have to get off their equipment, open up the gates, close them behind them, and then do what they needed to do. So.
And the property that you're talking about that ties them together, the BMA, that is their property.
A portion. I have not looked at all of them.
Along the canal, that you walk along the canal
Yes.
is BMA property.
Correct.
Right. And you need the BMA property access to be able to tie all the trails together.
That's correct.
And how much grant funding have we received for trails and trail maintenance and trail improvements and trail reinforcements in the last couple of years?
I would have to get you that number. I don't have that number off the top.
The reason that I'm asking is to contextualize whether or not a $15,000 investment in the gates, irrespective of whether or not BMA decides to honor their agreement to continue to provide kind of accessibility to those trails, if it still would be in the range of something that's reasonable considering the benefit from the trails that we've received. And I'm asking kind of, do you have like a sense, like a ballpark? No?
No.
Okay. All right.
I guess my concern is, given that you have operational staff that is not in favor of this, and you only do a 1 year, it's not that difficult to envision you invested gates for them and then they ended after 1 or 2 years. And then what are you going to do? We're going to be right back here because we don't have connectivity between our trails.
Correct.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So we did reach an agreement. Are they gonna fence off the canal trail?
According to the the field manager, he said no. He said that he doesn't even want to put signs up. He said that the city should put the signs up, but
Okay,
They wouldn't be able to.
well, I didn't.
You got a right of way and then you have a cliff.
it's pretty difficult to put. And then a lot of the material up there is pretty tough. So, yeah. But based on my initial meeting with them, they would not fence anything off. It'd be on the city to
So
put
the
signs.
scenario, we could reach an agreement, it's theirs, we're not supposed to hike up on the canal, but we didn't tell that couple that came yesterday, and they are up on the canal. What happens?
Is that
That's a great
trespassing?
question.
Is it trespassing?
It's kind of one of those situations where, I mean, we would take the trail off of our maps.
Right.
You know, we would make it known that that trail is closed. But I mean, people go outside the regional park property plenty of times.
Yeah.
So
You have to put notice on the sign on the trail so you're leaving city.
All right, Dan, what do you want to
Yeah.
say?
I'm just, my face is just showing my thoughts going on.
No, I.
That's why I asked.
I always have this fear of liability for the city.
Well,
Yeah.
let me ask you a question. Is that part of the canal still an open channel or is it covered up?
it's open except for the siphon.
It's an open channel. Okay.
I can just imagine someone slipping, falling, busting their head wide open, and then saying, "Guess what, city?"
Yeah, but then we would say you're not on city property.
Yeah.
Well,
And that's the thing.
No.
that becomes a liability between the two. Yeah.
And that's my, with the-
The liability concern is shared on both sides, both
Right,
city
absolutely.
and BMA. So
Right.
I can see their point on a liability issue. I can because they are a district which by default is a local government also.
Sure.
So I can see that.
and us being
Yes.
matched with them, so to speak.
Right. So I mean, I could see their point, but I see Nicole's. I understand that, but some type of certainty is a whole lot better when you're moving forward because, especially again, like I say, if senior staff are not in favor of this, you're one election away from losing your agreement potentially.
yes, sir. It's definitely going to be an uphill. It's definitely been an uphill battle with this organization, and I don't think that. I think the line of communication is open in terms of if we
Right.
do need something later on down the road, if we need to do trail maintenance down the road, we can reach out to them and ask them for that access. But at this point in time, we're obviously Parks Department is going to do everything we can to continue and maintain what we already have.
Well, I've tried to stay out of this because I know the people personally, and I've worked with them, and I know the attorney personally, and worked with them for a long time. And I'm not faulting them or what they're trying to do. I'm just trying to say that I would hope we would work better together.
I agree.
Yeah, I would agree as well. I think the motion written as is, it's kind of a moot point. But I do think there needs to be further discussion because, I mean, their concern about us backing out is the same concern that we have with them, that we're going to back out, right? And it seems like there's more personal emotions involved versus the betterment for both parties. And so I think further discussion is needed before voting.
Yeah. I don't think the city, this is my opinion, I don't think the city would have an intent in backing out of any of that because we utilize that as part of our stuff. So it's a matter of the city trying to make them comfortable and working with us.
So
I don't know how to get past that.
So would council like me to go back to BMA with the original contract and see what the directors would like to do versus based off of the conversations that I've had with their administrative staff and the attorney, and then come back and present whatever the directors?
I'm not opposed to you putting yourself as the middleman, so to speak, and kind of write down exactly, have them write down what they're looking from
Okay.
the city.
Okay.
So that we can discuss.
Yeah, I mean, the city would, in my opinion, would love to make a long-term commitment, but the ball's in their court. Is that fair?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we need any action on this? Okay,
No, I will take it back to them.
all right,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, let's move on to item F, discussion appropriate action on approving a community center policy. Before we go on, I just want to make a few comments on this one. I would assume, actually, I'm not going to assume, I'm just going to say I believe this probably went through the park board.
Yes, it went through both
And-
Friends of the Castro Regional Park and the Park Board.
The park board is the advisor to the
Correct.
council.
Yes.
So I would support that. Thank you very much. But I don't know if anybody else does, but I have a few questions and comments on it. But, let's hear a motion and then we can open a discussion. Or would we rather just have a discussion this time and hold off on a motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's have a discussion then. Okay. I can go page by page, or I'd like to hear what everybody else has to say, please.
So I know it references a policy that was approved by council last year. That's not part of our background information. As well as the comprehensive fees as well. I still have not seen that so that we can understand how they came up with the fee structure.
Okay.
Also, to me, a handbook is a governing document, not so much outlining from a rental aspect the do's and don'ts when it comes to renting the facility. So I foresee the rental agreement and the city policy as appendixes, as the handbook, a governing document to outline authorities, who has decision-making authority, things of that nature. And I have not seen that.
Okay, Mr. Tobin?
I guess my biggest concern is the whole alcohol consideration. How are we going to ensure we have positive control on that? I did read on there that they have to have rental agreements will require the renters to seek out their own security. Is that correct?
Correct. We would provide a list of locals security officers.
That we have vetted.
Correct.
Okay.
Actually, may I interject right quick? It says the security shall be performed by off-duty Castroville police officers.
Police officers.
It doesn't allow any others.
Off-duty law enforcement
Okay,
officer.
right, okay.
And is there
Okay.
any way to control the access to the pool from the community center?
Yes. So the back patio of the community center is going to be access controlled. Unless they're renting both spaces at the same time, that access control would be locked because there would be automatic gates. Same
Okay.
thing on the pool side where the pool office concession areas, that's also be a controlled gate on that side.
So in the event that they rent both, they can bring their own alcohol.
That would be something that we would have to bring back to council, and council would have to approve something like that. And I don't think that we're going to have a lot of situations where they're going to be renting both venues at the same time. The only thing that I foresee that, well, I say that now, but we would have to see.
And the current policy on the park is zero alcohol.
That's correct. Yes, we are a dry park.
Okay. I don't know. I don't feel good about the whole, everything else is fine. The whole introduction to alcohol.
Can someone have alcohol in the park by permit?
By permit, yes.
So, yeah, so
We're not
so
dry.
So it is
We're not dry.
by request.
Yeah.
it is by permit.
Okay.
In the park.
I understood that it was completely,
Well, that's what
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
just said, but we got to clarify.
Well, by yeah, sorry.
okay. Okay.
Everything's by permit if they want to do alcohol, which.
Used to it was not allowed, but they did
would-
pass it.
Yeah, but alcohol would, the presence of alcohol would, in my opinion, trigger some sense of security. And there's management and control issues because you're allowing the use of alcohol on a public facility.
Right.
So I'd have to run that through the attorney as far as potential liability on the
That-
city
That would be my biggest
by
concern.
allowing alcohol in our facilities. So, I mean, it's a case by things like that. So all of this, my understanding, if I'm wrong, my understanding, this has not gone through the attorney.
No, it has not. And this, I would like this to be a discussion so that way I can go back to the Parks Board with your recommendations,
Sure.
go to city secretary and attorney, put everything together, and then bring it back. That was the thought process with this one.
Okay.
I'm good.
Nicole?
So I have similar concerns as Tobin about alcohol use in the community center. Its use in the community center proper, I think, is something that is an issue of discretion for staff and something to be worked out over time. However, I am emphatically opposed to any alcohol that comes into the pool area because of safety concerns. People aren't allowed to run on the pool deck. Certainly to be on there in a state of intoxication when it comes to resuscitation or any kinds of injuries. It makes it a far more dangerous place to be, and I don't think that there's a great value to it. So as things proceed along, that's the thing that I am concerned about the most and would be the most objectionable to.
Mr. Marchman?
I concur with the alcohol, and I was curious, I was gonna ask Dan, other municipalities, right? Do we have any, data on who allows and who doesn't, or if anybody does?
Off the top of my head, I can't think that allow. I just
And
off
Dale
the top of
probably
my head.
does.
I live in Somerset, and we allow that at the community center along. Make sure that our city officers are there to.
That provides certain level of security to ensure
And it
that
could be a
it's
wedding
compliant.
reception or something. I mean,
Yeah.
not necessarily a family reunion.
And yet they have a pool
No, what the pool is on the other side of the town. Yeah,
separate.
separate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
But Jonah, currently, if anybody rents out the pool for a party, we don't allow alcohol, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So I was like, why we could keep that same.
Well, and also, I have worked in the past with Hollywood Park and Leon Valley and a variety of community pools, in which case they've had this conversation, and almost exclusively, even though there might be a temporary economic benefit that can be argued for allowing alcohol into pools, I cannot think of,
No.
maybe one or two pools that ultimately allowed for it. And it always came down to, well, what's more important? Do we want to rent this facility out and make a little bit more money? Or do we want to risk something that we know has like really meaningful health and safety issues for anyone who happens to be there, even if they're not drinking?
It's a tremendous liability on the city.
Second,
Yes, ma'am.
did I miss it in here, Jonah, is we would have a Parks and Rec city staff at all of those events. We would have a city person.
Not necessarily, no. A staff member would be available or like on call like myself, but there would not be a staff member at all of these events during their event times.
Okay. And then lastly, for charities, right?
Mhm.
So we weren't gonna charge anybody, the nonprofit, anything?
That was the plan. I mean, council obviously can change that. We can.
Is that in policy? The policy that was approved by council last year? Where can we find the policy that was approved last year in reference to the community center?
I don't think
Have
we
to
had
do a
one
policy.
because
We don't
we
have
didn't have a
It's part of the
community center
comprehensive
up
fee
and running.
schedule. There's no policy on that.
Correct. Yeah, this
This is a brand new document for us.
So I'm gonna have to go back and research the policy that it's referencing. That way I can see what the context of that is specifically.
And then also on the comprehensive fee schedule, I was on the Parks Board at the time when
Yeah,
that
but he
came
said
out.
charge.
And and I don't think that it was intentional by any stretch of the imagination, but the pricing was set in accordance with what council wanted to do, and by the time that the Parks Board got the information on it, it's kind of like that ship that already sailed.
Sure.
So there's an action that council did take in reference
to the fees.
Regarding the fees, yes, that was adopted.
Well, that was the other
Yeah.
thing is, okay, so even in this handbook, it's, okay, this is primarily the rec center area, right, in the kitchen.
Mm.
But what if somebody wants to rent out the conference room or just the kitchen itself?
Right.
And then you have mobile food vendors. I mean, specifically in conjunction with the community center, it's kind of like what yeah, it's just, the structure is just a little bit messy, and I don't see that information in here that needs to be in a handbook, that there definitely needs to be clarity.
Mr. Markman, do you have anything else?
Well, yeah, I was confused because the nonprofit rate in here, so you're gonna charge them, but then the others, I thought I read there was no charge for nonprofit.
On page
Page
55.
55, there's $400 a day,
Yes, yeah, I see the rental rates.
but then I don't know where the other one went. But
I can research and see where the
Okay.
discrepancy is.
thank you, John. Thank you.
Ms. Martinez?
So same concern about the alcohol. Huge concern, I feel heart of hearts that we need to have a body there in-house. Because who's gonna lock up the building? Who's gonna make sure that there's no damage or anything done when these people are done with their events?
Mhm.
I really have heartburn with that. That's a huge thing. I mean, we just have this brand new building built. We need to at least have one warm body in the building.
And police.
Well, they can be on call though.
Okay.
But I mean, we really need to have a body there, and that needs to be delineated in the handbook, because this is a handbook for the staff. That way they can turn around and say, oh, okay, well, and maybe look at, a schedule of 1 week, this person's the person that'll be at the community center for events and what have you. Then for, the renting, are these rates, and I agree with what Valerie, one of my other question is this rental for just the multi-purpose room? What about the conference room? People are going to want to rent that too.
Mhm.
Then how do our rates compare to other rental locations in Castroville, outside of Castroville?
Okay.
It's
Okay.
So
there's a lot
this
of
is all good information for me, so that way I can
What-
come back and
yeah.
I mean, because it's and I mean that with all honesty. I mean, I need to come back. I need to do a little bit more digging on some of this stuff, unmessy it, and then that way council has, all the
Yeah.
answers, because we did not talk about having a conference room rental. So if that's something council would like, then we can add that into it.
Well, you'll have people ask though that
Well,
want to do
and I
offsites
think-
and what have you.
And I think my thought process and that of the boards was, I don't know if the airport conference room is rented out,
It is.
so
Mm-mm.
No,
It used to not be, no.
that's
No
kind
one
of-
gets
I'm
the
not-
money.
But I
That's
think
kind of
some of
where
it
we-
is what's the use, what's the purpose of the
Sure,
community center?
sure.
Right? Because right now when I look at these prices, it's revenue generating to cover some of the costs that the city has spent. When you're charging a resident $600 to rent it out.
Yeah, well, you're not going to like what I have to say.
Probably not, but we'll go toe to toe.
Okay, but that's okay. Ms. Martinez?
yeah, and I mean just some. You have in here no glass bottles or what have you. Okay, well, some like Mexican Coke. Mexican Coke only comes in glass bottles, and that's
Word
one.
it up.
But
Yeah, no, I
who's going to be
understand.
there to check
Word
the
it up.
coolers
Absolutely.
and everything to make sure? That's why it's always good to have a body
Sure.
there during these events. Okay, that's all I have right now.
Okay. I'll just concur with everyone else, and I'll just make a few comments and we'll just back off from there. The community center rental hours, Sunday through Thursday, not Monday through Friday, but Sunday through Thursday, it should close down at 9:00. Friday and Saturday open till 10. It shouldn't be open till 10 on Sunday. You got your dates wrong, in my opinion. Sunday through Thursday is one set of hours, Friday and Saturday is another. to spin off on what Mr. Lee brought up earlier, why wouldn't it be available on holidays? Charge a premium, charge 1.5 times the fee if they want a holiday to pay for the overtime for an employee to be there. But why give up those days if someone wants to use it with a family event or something like that? The maximum occupancy of the building is clearly stated as 103 people. But when you go back to security, you've got security levels up 200 plus. You can't have 200 plus if the maximum occupancy is 173. So what's the maximum occupancy? 173 or 200?
173. I thought I changed that.
Nope.
I'll go back.
Didn't. Okay. Because when you're talking about the number of security, you have events exceeding 200 guests. Well, it'll never exceed 173.
Does that include if they were to say, for example, rent both the community center and the pool, then would you be in a position where you'd be over 200 potentially?
The building is 173.
Yeah, we would go based on what the occupancy level is of the building.
Okay. The other thing when we're talking about when somebody reserves it, do they have to pay the fee, or they just call you in and put it on a calendar and hope they show up and pay a fee someday? There should be a reservation fee.
Agreed.
Paid up front. Now it can be refunded if they cancel the reservation, but in order to reserve a spot, there should be a fee paid in advance, a reservation fee. Okay, it can go against the rent.
Sure.
But it locks down the reservation. Okay. Any music?
55, there does say security deposit.
Okay. Any music should be referenced. We should reference our city ordinance because it's in a residential area. We should reference our noise ordinance for noise emitting from the building. Okay. For anyone that has loud music. Okay. Just want to make that point. Here's the one that I really go back to with your rates. I'm just going to make a general statement on your rates. A daily rate, we can argue about the amount of money. I got it. But you realize on Sunday through Thursday, that building's open available for use for 13 hours. Okay, 13 hours times $75 is a lot more than 500. It's basically almost nine. I mean, do the math. That's $800, and you cut it to 5. So I think you need to get a little closer than that if somebody wants it for the full day.
Okay.
I'm not advocating that amount of money, but I'm saying there should be a maximum amount. I'm talking about that for residents, non-residents, and all of the things I got. Your cleaning deposit of $200. Okay, I think the security and the cleaning should be separate because you brought it up during budget discussions about the cost of cleaning that building. So you put the deposit down to encourage them to clean it, and they get it back. But if not, you got to pay somebody to clean it. Okay.
So, Mayor, just real quick you're saying the cleaning deposit and their security deposit.
They're different.
Okay.
They're different, in my opinion. Okay. I don't understand the difference between a security deposit with or without alcohol. Okay, is that the security deposit for the damages of the building, or is it a security deposit for security? I'm just curious on the definition of what you call that.
Okay.
Just thought I'd ask that. And when somebody is required to have security, is there a minimum rental period, i.e. 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours? Is there a minimum amount of rental to it? Okay. So that I just thought I'd ask that too. Okay. I like your setup and decoration stuff. I have the same issues with alcohol.
Okay.
And then you have blanks there, but like when they require proof of insurance, I think the proof of insurance should be provided to the city at minimum of 3 business days before the event. So the city has an opportunity to verify that. Same thing if they have insurance or if they have health certificates. 3 business days prior to the event, so the city can confirm it. Huh?
Who will do that?
Who will do what?
Who will review
I would hope that they would either be done by the person responsible for taking these events, Mr. Jonah, or if not him, it would come to City Hall and go through the administration or somebody
And that's
to do
why
that.
authority should be listed in the handbook. Who's
Right.
the approving
Right.
authority? And I know, Mayor, yourself and Councilwoman Schreiner both stated that there's no policy for the community center. Can we look into creating a policy
Absolutely.
to provide a framework for Jonah? Because this is a lot for him to understand, because the handbook should be derived from the actual policy from the city.
And I think part of it too is, and I completely understand the questions that come out of the review of this, but I'm also a little concerned that we're suggesting making changes without having had asked the Parks Advisory Board why they made these decisions. I don't know exactly why it's from Sunday through Thursday or it's Friday and Saturday. I don't know, like, the decision on $500 a day versus $75 an hour. But I think before
Sure.
giving directive, we should definitely get their input, because I suspect that they spend a tremendous amount of time putting it together, and we don't want to.
True, but I would think that document would be given to Jonah to provide to council, right? That should be a deliverable from Parks and Rec.
I don't
to do
think
that.
I don't think we're at the point we're giving directives on what we do. We're just saying these are some of the questions
That we have.
that we have.
Well, you did
To go
say
back
that
and
Sunday
address.
through Thursday was a mistake.
I believe it is.
But I think it would be appropriate to then say, why is this going from Sunday through Thursday? We would usually kind of expect to see it in this
Sure.
way.
Well, it's
So-
in one respects in the front page of this where it stipulates the hours, the facility information and hours. It says Monday through Friday and Saturday and Sunday. But when you go back to the rental paper, it says Sunday through Thursday and Friday and Saturday. So they conflict.
So, and I think,
conflict.
and again, sorry, I don't want to cut into.
No, that's okay.
But I think
She makes a great point, but I just want-
and the feedback that I'm getting is good for me because, to Mayor's point, the park office community center rental hours say one thing and the rental rates are different. So just making sure that we're all on the same page in terms of this is why this is this way and this is this way.
Right.
Makes sense. So like to Mayor, yeah, Saturday and Sunday, 8 to 10 p.m., Monday through Friday, 8 to 9. And then the rates have Sunday through Thursday, Friday through Saturday.
Well, one of the other things really quick, and this is where I just want to ask, and I'm asking you, and maybe take this back to the park board, and maybe they don't have access to this information, but some of the things in there, they need to match with city ordinances. They have to match with city policies. Okay, so they need to match up because it is a city facility. And for example, this is a small thing, but it could be a big thing to people. Smoking, vaping, or use of tobacco products anywhere inside the facility or on the premises is prohibited. Well, it is true, but if you read back into the city's policies, it's prohibited within 50 foot of any opening into the building. So it doesn't prohibit you can't smoke in the park. You can't smoke within 50 foot of the doorways, for example. So
Not in the building.
that's a little thing, but that matches with city policies is what I'm trying to get at.
Is this a policy or a handbook? Because it's confusing on your agenda.
It's a handbook. It's a guide.
Okay, because at
For
first
staff.
it said
Well,
for staff. Okay,
but for staff or for
And-
anybody wanting to rent
The
it.
users.
Well,
it's the users. Okay.
I see handbook as for staff.
Well, this said community center policy is why I thought it was a policy. That's why I was like,
So,
okay.
but now we're saying that there is no policy. So
No.
before Parks and Rec Advisory Boards goes and kind of tries to update this handbook, we do need to come up with a policy
Yeah.
as a governing framework for them to.
I think
go
they've done great. It's just we need some tweaks.
Right, we're here to help them, and
For the horse.
we need a city policy for these.
We're putting the cart before the
Yes,
horse.
thank you. Yes, that's what I think Jonah needs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you got a whole bunch of things to talk about now?
Whole page full. Oh, there's no more.
Well,
You just
what
need to open.
what I would encourage you, suggest to you, is come up with what you believe is a draft.
Okay.
Run it by Leroy, and kind of get warm and fuzzies, and say, now take this to the park board and let's see what they have to say about it,
For a policy.
and then come back with a recommendation
Okay.
to the council.
For the policy or the handbook?
For a
Right, for a
Policy.
policy,
Policy.
or a policy on that. But I would encourage you to draft something up and work with Leroy before you go to the park board. So
Absolutely.
you can go with working together, what the general guidance of council direction is, and then I'll let the advisory board run with that and come back with us with something. That'd be my suggestion.
Yep, yep.
Y'all all right with that?
Yes.
Okay. So there's not going to be, I don't believe there's going to be any action on this at this time.
Correct.
Nope.
Okay, let's move on to,
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Jonah.
Appreciate it.
Talk about him. He's getting us all messed up.
let's move on to item G. Discussion and appropriate action on changes to number of members on the Historic Landmark Commission. Councilman Marchman. And let me just say really quick, I have someone here and paper here. Ms. McVeigh, if you would like to speak on this one, you're more than welcome to. Okay. Okay, I wanted to give you the opportunity. Yes, ma'am. Okay, yes, ma'am. Thank you. Mr. Marchman.
Yes, so we have 6, 7 boards. I don't know how you look at it, but in HLC, we have 7 board members, not 5.
We have 9. We have 7
Well,
board
you count
and
the 2.
2 alternates.
Right.
Yes, sir.
7 full-time.
Yes.
And we're having a hard time with all the vacancies on the other boards. HLC is the only board with 7. And the reason that changed for the historical was they combined 2 boards. When was that, Bruce?
2017, I believe, or 18, I'm not
Into
sure.
one,
I
where they
know.
had a commercial,
Huh?
commercial real estate.
I said, I know, I was here.
The chairman right now, Mr. Gardner, was the mayor at the time.
Yes. They combined the design review board
Uh-huh.
and the HLC.
That's correct.
Yes.
Right.
To make one.
So we have HLC sitting over with 7, everybody else has 5, and we can't fill those 5. Everybody's having a hard time getting volunteers back in. HLC, I served on it for 8 years. It will function fine with 5. And the intent of this is not to take people off of HLC, but to spread the love to where if we have volunteers that can fill in on parks or fill in on the airport or fill other places, we take the pressure off. And it's, you can volunteer in other boards that need it. That is the point. We don't need a 7-member board.
My only, I'll think on this, is because the other boards, if you want to make them uniform, would be 5 full board members and 2 alternates. That would make up the total of 7. That way it would be in line with all the others. And that way you wouldn't have to worry with the extra 2, because this board has not had 2 alternate positions on this. Now, whether or not the other members, I mean, it depends on what you do. If you decide to do it 5 and 2, you would have enough members to fill that. Depending on those members that you're wanting to, if you change and say just 5 members, those other folks may not want to be on other boards. That's the only thing. I mean, you can say, would you like to do this? But if they haven't put their
And we
application
need to
for
give
it.
other people opportunity to be on HLC too, because we.
Well, there is
have-
criteria for that board and the P and Z and then the zoning board of adjustments. They have to meet certain criteria. So that's the 3 boards that they
So
do.
that's the point, is try to give uniformity. It doesn't require 7 people to function. It needs 5. And that's what I brought it to you, because it's finding volunteers. Oh, and that said, Fiorella Friday, which is next Friday, we'll have a table set up looking for volunteers for all boards, again, in front of Ron J. Shop.
Okay. Anything else, sir?
No, sir.
Okay. Ms. Martinez, did you want to comment on this?
No.
Okay. Ms. Schreiner?
I do. I have a question. So are there people who are currently of the 7-member makeup on the HLC board that have said, if we go down to 5, I would like to be on a different board and I would willingly go there?
Haven't asked.
No, as of right now, our boards are, of course, there's certain ones that's came up for, they're staggered
Okay.
each year.
So
And so we have applications right now that we waited because of this being on here and the next one. The next meeting, we will have the applications that I have in my office for all the different boards that have come up.
But I
And
guess
so-
my point on that one and asking that question is, if there are people who are willing to go and volunteer and be on different boards and the HLC board is full, then they would naturally just go over to a different board.
That's the thought.
And so reducing the HLC board from people who have been dedicated and who are invested in it seems more of an unnecessary thing, especially if there's an opportunity to continue to have a 7-member structure, just in a slightly different fashion with like 5 and then 2.
Yeah. I disagree with that.
That's okay.
Anything else, ma'am?
No, I mean, I just,
I understand.
I look at it and I just don't know how effective it would be in achieving the goal.
Okay. Mr. Chip?
No, sir.
Ms. Solis?
So I don't see the impact per se from decreasing 7 to 5. However, what was the overall point of combining those two boards in the past?
They had two types. They have an HLC historic and then they had a commercial historic.
Yeah.
And part of them was supposed to have realtors that were.
It still does.
I can speak to you really quick, and I don't know what ultimately made it in, but the design review board was originally began as a board to review commercial development, commercial permits, okay? But yet, I don't know if they became ineffective. I don't know, because I don't know. But it was 9 years after I left when they did away with it. Obviously, there was a reason to do that. But when they did that, they combined it with the HLC and did away with the design. So basically, HLC was, at that time, my understanding, was supposed to be doing historic and design review. But it may have come to light later on that maybe there wasn't, kind of like design review kind of died. And HLC became focused just on historic. So the rest of the commercial that wasn't historic really wasn't getting any design review, or was getting minimal design review. And there were people in this community that worked hard 20 years ago to develop architectural or try to get design standards on the highway. And it kind of just went south. So this is my opinion. So I don't know. And then HLC has been working with, at the same token, they created the historic district. So they got their hands full in doing that with all of that. But in the meantime, last year I came back to council to try to resurrect the design review board. And obviously they said no, because we didn't do that. So it is a lot for one board when you deal with both issues, but that's not the issue on the table.
Right.
Is to go back to the 5 historic, what it was, and then how you handle design review, whether you still keep it with this committee or whether you create something else, that's a different discussion.
Right. And so the ordinance for HLC, does it say minimum of 5? Or?
No, the
There's no
HLC
ordinance.
ordinance combines the 2 bill and makes 7-member
With 2 alternates.
7-member with 2 alternates. The ordinance makes that. So if you change the number, just like several months ago, we changed the ordinance to move their appointments from October to June. So that was a move because HLC was the only board that was not rotated out in June. It was October. So we changed that ordinance to make all of them roll in the same time frame. So this would require a change in the ordinance if you change the number.
Right.
Any other questions? Comments? Entertain a motion. Or Kyle, is there anything that I said wrong, or was we?
No, sir, I think you covered it very well, and the answer is, Lisa's question is that, it wouldn't be an impact. Well, it would, if you put 7 original members on and put them into
And that's why I was suggesting it to you, what's the purpose? I think I can explain that.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Okay, I'd entertain a motion. I'll ask one more time before we just did this for lack of a motion. Entertain a motion. Okay, we'll move on. This item is
you.
off the table because there's no motion on it, no action. Let's move to item H, discussion and appropriate action on changes in membership requirements for the Airport Advisory, Park Recreation Advisory, and Library Advisory Boards. I put that on there, and I'll tell you why. The Park Recs, when it was first created in the Park Board, it was a regional park board. Regional park was very clearly stated, it doesn't involve just the city, it involves others. Well, it's been changed. It's still the regional park, but it's the Parks and Recs, so it has to do with more parks in the city than just the regional park. So, while somebody will say, yep, they're an advisory board, but I believe they have a duty and responsibility to the city as a majority versus just outside the city. I don't say people outside the city limits or not customers of the city should not be on boards. I'm saying that the majority of the board should be residents that either own property or have utility accounts within the city. Basically, they're making recommendations on expenditure of funds that they don't contribute to. And I say that, I know that's kind of harsh to say, but you could have your best foot forward and best thoughts, but I don't think, just like city council, everybody has to be a resident of the city. I'm not saying every board member has to be a resident, but I'm saying the majority should be. That's my opinion.
May I tell you why they changed it from regional? Just because?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we had the Sports and Rec Board at the same time.
I know.
They could not keep members on that, and so, and Regional Park Board dealt with just Regional Park. And so when they merged them so that they could be, for the Lions Park and others coming, they renamed it to.
Yeah, there was arguments for years that Regional Park Board, but different people thought, well, what about Union Square? What about September Square? And it kind of fell back to the Park Board, but the Park Board said, nope, we don't deal with that. So they got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
And I know that.
Yeah.
So I understand the Parks and Recs Board, and I got it. But if it was just the Parks and Recs Board and it wasn't regional park, we wouldn't be having outside people on it. They'd all be residents, and we know it. Because the only reason they're outside resident people on the Parks Board is because of the regional park.
And for the most part, on that one board, they happen to have more.
And that's that. And the Library Board, yes, there's a requirement for a student member, which we haven't had in a long time. There's a requirement for people be in the Medina Valley School District area. I'm sure we are. But I still believe the majority should come from residents of the city. And the airport, there are people that live in this community that know about the airport. They know aviation. There are multiple retired military people that spent their career in aviation. I support who we have, and I understand, and I'm not trying to run anybody off, but I don't believe tenants should be on boards. And I believe the former mayor that was here speaking earlier actually had a document at one time that said tenants shouldn't be a chairman or shouldn't be there, the majority shouldn't be. So I don't support that, but it is what it is. And I think the majority should be out there, either residents of the city or directly related to that. So that's my opinion, and I'll open it up for any other discussion.
So I don't mind the majority of the membership to be residents of the city, but I would like to see if we can clarify with primary residents within the city of Castroville, because you could have those that just have rental.
That is true. So I referenced people that own property and or pay a utility bill. Because I was trying to be as soft as I could, But I'm fully supportive as a primary residence in the city of Castroville. But that's up to y'all.
So I'm not opposed to that, but, and completely acknowledge by kind of putting more strict parameters against it, that obviously there is that there's gonna be that discussion as far as expertise
Mhm.
or the loss of expertise.
Sure.
Knowledge or whatnot, but at the same time, that does not prevent anybody to come before council to ask as well.
That is correct. And all meetings are open to the public, and it doesn't prevent anyone from coming in and providing support, criticism, or otherwise on any decisions or discussions before the advisory boards, just like city council.
That's those are my comments.
Mr. Chip,
I'm good.
okay. Ms. Schreiner,
Well, in the interest of disclosure, were this rule to take effect, I would not have been able to serve on the Parks Board for the several years that I did, and I wouldn't be sitting here right now either. I am very much in the process of, I grew up in Castroville. I came back to build a business here. It is true that I am not in a position yet where I own my own property or own my own home. I'm certainly working on it. And, you know, I look at this and I look at one of the things that I consistently hear from people in the city, which is there is a wide opportunity and a much desired opportunity to have more people be involved. And I think that this this ordinance here basically takes away the value of being a citizen in the area, and instead says it's more important that you're a property owner, even to the extent of within our city's own policy. In not all renters even have the ability to sign up for a utility. It may be under their landlord's name exclusively because of a city policy that happened a couple of years ago. And also you run into an issue if you have a household in which maybe you've got multiple people who are living there, but only one is on the utility. Have we now rejected all of those people who don't happen to be on the paperwork, even though they're actively engaged and want to help and volunteer with the city? So I suppose I'm concerned about the value of it long term, and yeah, so that's where I'm at with that.
okay. I'll let me clarify something. Yes, I wrote it out to be a property owner or a utility ratepayer, but I will yield to the position that you just made. A resident of the city takes priority over anything, and whether you own property or whether you pay a utility bill, you have to be a resident of the city to serve on this council. And so all I'm saying is a resident of the city. Let me quantify that. There's no ordinance been drafted. This is a proposal that if council concurs, then it would be turned over to the attorney to draft the appropriate ordinances to make this. So the change in it is obviously a resident of the city.
Within the city limits.
Huh?
Within the city limits.
Within the city limits, a resident of the city of Castroville. And I'm only saying that as a majority. I'm not saying the entire advisory board, just the majority. Mr. Marchman?
You want me to read the motion?
Well, I want to ask if you have any comments, and then Ms. Martinez?
In regards to the airport advisory board, we have such an extensive wait list. People clamor to put their planes out at our airport.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
And some of them, since they have their own hangars, do pay their utility bill for their hangar.
Right.
So that would qualify them to check that block. We have, for example, Mr. Kenneth Lang. He is the farmer that owns the property at the south side of the runway.
That is correct.
And so that's the reason why we put him on there, is because there was so much misinformation going on out there with regards to anything going on at the airport that may affect the farmers around the airport and everything. We felt it was good to put him on there. That way he could voice anything that the farmers have been hearing that aren't true, and we could get their input as far as what they think, be a good way forward for the airport and the farmers to work hand in hand. So that's why he got on the board. So we're trying to make it a win-win situation for both the airport and the local farmers around the airport. So that's how this makeup comes. And having people that, with the airplanes and everything out there is a good thing as well, because they care. They want to help out, move the city forward, grow the city, and provide input as far as that. We did have Karen Feifel.
Yep.
Was on the board as an alternate.
Right.
So that gave a citizen who came forward and said, "Okay, I want to be on that." So she was an alternate. So we're open to anybody and anybody to be on the airport board. But, having people that have airplanes out there too is not a bad thing either.
Well, in the past, we could not. When I first came here, I think it was probably 2 years where they could have a meeting.
tenants.
And we couldn't find anybody that wanted to do it, and so that's when they changed it
Right.
on part of it.
Now,
So-
Mr. Lang, in response to that one, Mr. Lang, I know him personally. I know their property. I know the issues. And I think he served on the Joint Airport Zoning Board.
He was part of that
And
group,
part of
yes.
that process that when previous council ended that, but yet we directed it to be restarted back up, and we're still waiting on that. So we can work on that. But yes, ma'am, thank you very much. All right. Anybody want to make a motion or
Sure.
let this roll too? Go ahead.
Make a motion to require that the majority membership of the airport, parks and recreation and library advisory boards to the city council are residents of the city of Castroville that either own property within the city of Castroville or are a utility customer of the Castroville utility system beginning effective June 30th.
So you're.
We have
you're-
to have an ordinance first.
We're going to direct the orders, but basically, let me make sure I understand this correctly before I call for a second. You're saying that they either have to be a resident, own property, or have a utility bill within the city of Castroville.
That's what he just said.
That's what it says.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what's up for grabs.
That means they could be a member of San Antonio.
If
If
they
they pay a
pay
utility
utility
bill.
bill or property tax or a resident. So you put the three qualifications.
Which is basically what you have now.
Not necessarily. But everybody, is there a second on that?
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion to second to move forward and direct staff to draft an ordinance to change the makeup of the airport, parks and recreation, and library advisory boards, that a majority membership shall either be a resident, own property, or pay a utility bill with the city of Castroville. Motion made and second.
Okay, that was read differently from what, so you're saying a resident,
Is that what?
property owner, or utility customer, is that what we're saying? Because that's not what was read originally. Yeah.
That's what the motion was, correct?
He said resident, and then he added property and whatever.
With the motion.
Houston, what is your motion? That's what I heard.
So it said residents either own property within the city of Castroville or utility customer.
Yeah, that's all three.
So,
So you're going by
so you
this.
can't be
technology.
a resident. So if you are a resident, but you don't own property or have a utility bill, you're out.
Is it,
That's the way that it's written.
Okay, owner of property or a utility customer.
Majority membership of the airport, parks and recreation, and library advisory boards to city council are residents of the city of Castroville that either own property within the city of
that the way you
Castroville
read it?
or are a utility customer of the
Okay.
city Castroville utility system beginning effective June 30th, 2026. That explicitly prohibits people who do not own property and whose name is not on a utility bill from serving on a board.
So that should be four.
So there was a second made,
So we got amended.
yes.
Hang on.
Well, you need to
Hang
vote,
on.
correct?
We
Or
got,
what?
You're gonna have to vote on this.
Yes.
That can withdraw it.
It's gonna have to be voted up or down.
Mhm. Then you can do that.
All in favor? All opposed?
All
Okay, that one failed. Now,
right, now he can resubmit.
No?
how about this? I'm gonna ask this. I'm gonna make a stab at this. I'm not making a motion, I'm suggesting. A resident of the city of Castroville or a property owner or a utility rate payer for the city of Castroville. Majority of the makeup of the boards be one of those three criterias.
Okay, resident of Castroville or
A property owner within the city of
owner of
Castroville
property.
or a utility rate payer within the city of Castroville.
or
That would be the majority makeup of those three boards.
You would just remove either own,
Right.
then everything would be fine.
One of the three. Would you be okay with that?
I'm fine, that's better.
okay, resident of Castroville or property owner
Or
or utility
pay.
customer.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, city of Castroville property owner or city property owner.
Okay, got it.
Property
got
owner within the city of Castroville
Got it.
or utility rate payer.
Okay,
Are we
ready?
okay with that? Yes, move the motion, please.
Motion to require that the majority membership of the airport, Parks and Recreation, and Library Advisory Boards to the city council are residents or property owners or utility rate payers within the city of Castroville or utility customer of the.
Wait.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. Okay, motion made.
Since
Is
the
there,
beginning
is there-
effective June 30th,
And I'll second again.
okay,
2026.
motion made and second, the majority membership of the airport, library, and Parks and Recreation boards be either a citizen of Castroville, a person owning property within the city of Castroville, or a utility rate payer within the city of Castroville. Motion made and second.
So now we need to bring an ordinance back.
That's correct. It's
So
the
it's
direct,
not-
it's the direct, it's the direct,
Direction.
it's the
'Cause it's
direct
not gonna go
staff
in-
to draft an ordinance for
Okay.
that. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Same sign.
The reason why I say
No.
that you have it effective June 30th and it's not
No, I
effective
didn't,
July.
but I didn't read that.
Got it.
I didn't read that like that. The motion that went in and was adopted was to direct staff to prepare the ordinance for those things.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right, now that we got that done, we're gonna move on to item 13, discussion on future agenda items. If you have anything you'd like to add to the agenda, please let me know now. Or, let me see, the next council meeting is on the 14th. We back that up to the 7th, I believe we'll be posting. 5, 6, 7, the 8th. So you must have it, that'd be posting. That's posting. So now we back up before that. So it's the July 2nd. If you'd like to have something on the agenda, please get it turned in by close of business on July 2nd.
And the city is closed.
Actually, yes.
The
And we're,
city's closed on that Friday, so nobody will be.
and we're
ready.
closed on the 3rd,
Yes. But the city.
okay? But emails are wonderful. They're time stamped. Okay?
Swamps don't have them here.
Okay.
I probably won't take it
So I
with me.
appreciate that. Is there anything, any other business, any other things? Okay, remember tomorrow?
Here.
Okay, we have our little mini retreat and it begins at 12:30. And then we have on Thursday, it begins at 8 in the morning.
9.
9,
Thursday.
It's
9.
breakfast, 9 o'clock is when it starts.
8 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah,
okay?
9.
I will not be here, but if you need me, call.
And I understand that and I thank you very much. And please don't forget the 4th of July, folks, the parade, if you please, I think we got a float, we got something, who knows? We'll figure that out. All right, meeting is
Let me know
adjourned.
about the hog wild because they
Oh.
fill up quickly.
On the training for the, that's coming up
I'm gonna go.
on August 7th, to be put on by our attorneys. Anyone wants to go, please let Deborah know so we can make the schedules on that. Okay, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay, all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. It is 7:45 PM.
All right, we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Thank you.